Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 594. Today we're doing battle with the Pyromancer in Backpack Battles. And so we're nearing the end of the Pyromancer week. The patch day should be coming within the next couple of days. I have to pause and say day because I'm not entirely certain when the patches come out. I feel like they come out on Fridays, but it may not be on a weekly cadence like I got used to there for a little while. And so we're getting distracted. Let's move on. Let's move forward. Let's battle with the Pyromancer today. See if we can't get ourselves into some interesting stuff. And a pretty powerful start here to begin with. I really like this open with the walrus tusk and the shield. The thorn shields are quite good early. We've got the banana that we're definitely looking for in the early game as well. Let's add this stuff in and see where we stand. And so we're out of space in our bag at this point. No big reason to go with the wooden sword. I'm going to pick it up because it's on sale. We can just sell it next round if we don't want it. But the thing I look to do here in the early game with all of these Pyromancer rounds is just roll early. And so we're not going to be rolling here because we can't afford anything, but I like to roll early to look for these 4-slot bags. In my opinion, one of the biggest problems with the Pyromancer is just having enough space in your bag to do anything. And what tends to happen is you get to the mid game, you need bag space, you start rolling for bags, and you just get fanny packs. And so I feel like it's fairly important to roll early with the Pyromancer and try and pick up those 4-slot bags. So we'll see how it comes together. A very similar build from the opponent, just doing what we're doing a lot better. He had those 2 items early he got to spend his money on. Good for him. And so, moving forward, nothing in this bag I'm particularly interested in. Let's take that roll. Looking good here. This is really kind of tying into a lot of what I want happening early with the Pyromancer. We've got the lump of coal to make the torch. The torch will turn into the burning sword. It's a very fantastically strong item in the early game. I'm looking to definitely go towards it. Now with this, I like having these piggy banks. They've really grown on me as an early game item, so that will work out as well. And now we have what to do with this wooden sword. I don't really want 2 weapons. I really just want 1 weapon, and so it sucks in the early game not really spending that stamina resource, right? We're not going to run out of stamina with a single wooden sword, but I think I would rather just get rid of that sword and pick up the onion. Go ahead and start picking up the faster rate on the banana, and then we'll see if we can't course correct with better weaponry a little bit later. I'm happy enough with how this burning torch will carry our early game weaponry. Alright, so it seems like we're sustaining okay now. Fairly strong with our spiked shield and double food. It is a bit unfortunate to be up against a upgraded ranged weapon this early in the game. Just canceling the great work that our thorns are going to be doing, but you know what they say, man. It is what it is. So, pushing on, pushing up, pushing forward. Let's snatch up this banana. I like having 2 of these early. This other stuff, not super interested in. Like, if we start to land more towards another Thorns build, it's a touch chicken and egg if we want to, say, build towards Flame Whips. And then have double spiked shield, and so I think it's okay to skip over it. We'll pick up the flame. It's not free, but it's kind of a free sell, right? We pay 1 for it. If we don't want it after this roll, we can just resell it, and now we have a bag turning up that we want. And so we'll definitely snatch up the bag. Definitely interested in this walrus tusk out here, but I don't think we're going to have the funds for the walrus tusk. And so let's see if we can't get all of this up and running. I was trying to see if we could turn this to where, here, we can just do this, right? Just move that bag. Now we can get the extra flame within the flame bag. So happy enough with that. Now we do have a couple of interesting decisions here in the sense that there's an on-sale broom and an on-sale walrus tusk. We should probably just take both, but this is where our build will start to branch right now. I'm not super excited about Staff of Fires. I just haven't been impressed with how this works out with the Pyromancer. It's just the way I see it is you don't want multiple ways of spending mana, right? You want to have one way that you're just like channeling all of your mana into. So if you say, okay, I've got a mana thirst generating mana, and then I've got the Staff of Fire draining it. And then if that's the case, I don't really want to be going for Friendly Fire, which is the the mana based mage item drains the mana to gain the flames. And so what I haven't put into practice, but what I think is probably ideal is if we say just go for the serpent staff, if we're going to go for or I'm sorry, like that's not the case. I've been thinking of serpent staff builds because I just don't like staff of fire. But I'm thinking that if you want to go for the friendly fire, you don't want to go towards the brooms. Or if you pick up the staff of fire, you just have to go for a different item. And so I kind of wanted to call that out as the broom is here, as the walrus tusk kind of takes us a different route, takes us a route towards the flame whip. And so we'll see. I think we can lock in both. I think that was a little off-kilter explanation, but it's the thing that I kind of have in mind at this point. We find ourselves either building towards brooms or building towards thorns. And if we are building towards brooms, I like to call out that I just don't like the mage staff. Uh-oh. Baby's waking up. We gotta get through this round and see what's happening back there. He may not make it through this video. He says, I'm not sleeping today. Yeah, we'll see what that gets us. It's amazing how far a shit and a snack will get you in life. And so that's the life, huh? You just you wake up, you take a shit and a snack, and then you just go back to sleep. nice little day, huh? Nice little day. So let's see what we can do here. I've got the on sale broom, the on sale tusk. Where are we at? I messed up the sound in the downtime. And there we go. Back up, got those sweet backpack tunes back up and running. And here I'd like to hit another bag, right? We got enough money to potentially hit on the next round. We have these handful of flames we can sell if we need to as well. So we'll see if something comes together with that. It did not. There's still some decent stuff here. I am interested in picking up the blueberries. I'm interested in picking up the lump of coal. It's just a real bummer to not have the bags hit. The other thing, I mean, we just picked up the tusk, and there is another wooden buckler in this space. This is the spot where I'm not certain if we should be rolling, right? We have some decent plays here, and picking up the blueberries, picking up the lump of coal for the burning torch, and then maybe just locking the wooden buckler and trying to pick up something in the next round. But we also have like a lot of sellable stuff in our bag. We essentially have 4 gold in our bag just kind of banked up to sell. And so we could say pick up the blueberries and then roll. But I think that this is just the place where we kind of have to stop. It's not exciting, but it kind of is what it is. Pull that flame out to get the bonus onto the garlic. I want to lock the wooden buckler since we have the tusk and board. Just like, man, it's like as we go into this next round, we need to find 6 hexes worth of space. Let's take 1 roll, see if something turns up. There's that 4-slot bag. So we can at least pick it up. We can get the buckler in. Probably want to go ahead and... Oh, shit. Hang on. I did that thing again. I thought we were going to have the space for everything. We did not. But I think that's still okay way to go about it, right? We get this this better wrap on our food. We get the walrus tusk and board. We could just pick up the buckler next round. Okay. Up against a hammer. I think we should be fine. I still have no respect for the hammers. Hopefully we have enough we have enough high health to just soak through some of the big like burst damage that the hammer does. And he doesn't have any knives, so it's not like we're going to get that RNGesus stun to where he gets the hit, he gets the stun, and then he also hits like 4 dagger hits all back to back. So I think we should be okay. Looks like Battle Rage is about to fall off. We'll make it into that next round. Okay. And so, moving on with this, we got the buckler, gonna take it. I'm not hugely impressed with the spears or the flame spears within these. Like, it is, like, at this point, if we didn't have, like, the burning torch, like, if things just never came together and we're just derping around with, like, a short sword or a pan or a broom or something, then, like, fine, I'll sell all that stuff and pick up the spear and turn it into burning spear, but it's not something that I particularly want. I've been very unimpressed with it this patch. Otherwise, don't need any more thorn stuff. It's too early for a cap of resilience. Let's roll on. Find another 4-slot bag. Looks good to me. This is where we're probably just going to have to stop it. We might want to come in and pick up this piggy bank. That's actually something I'm a little interested in here. So let me see how we're going to get these bags running first, though. Like, that's how we want the bags. I could see picking up the piggy bank, selling off 3 flames, and getting it in. It should get us on track with the monies a little bit as well. Like, if we have to sell it, it'll pay for itself after this round, right? It sells for 2 gold. We'll pick up the 1 gold next turn, but it should be able to hang out in our bag for a little bit of time here. Okay. Just need like a little bit of direction on where to go. It's like with the double spike shield, it does make me want to kind of push towards a flame whip style of build. I've been having a fair amount of success with it here recently, but it's not a requirement, right? These are still decent defensive items regardless of the path that we end up going down. All right, with fatigue through the Pyromancer. Good job, us. And what do we got? Oh, perfect. The Thorn Whip turns up. And so this is definitely what we'll be going about. So the couple of things that I really wanted to call out as far as the Flame Whip build goes is, you know, I'm going to take the Flame Whip. We use the Flame Whip to spend thorns and generate heat. Then that heat we have to dump into something, which that something will be the friendly fire. And so we're going to be able to shoot up very quickly in the heat with the friendly fire generating heat and with the Flame Whip generating heat. And so I like this cycle of combos that we have. And it's nice to have it pop up early. I've been wanting to talk about the Thorn Whip because I've been having good success with it here recently, but the downside to the Thorn Whip is if it doesn't turn up, then the build just falls apart. And so if you're looking to go towards, you know, this thorns-based kind of build, and then the whip doesn't turn up, then you have to be ready to pivot out into something else. And so what we're going to do here, we'll sell off the Burning Torch. You did wonderful work for us, but you're no longer needed at this point. Let's go ahead and get our Flame Whip upgrade happening. Probably make the bags work just a touch better. Something like that will be okay. It is always a little bit awkward in terms of the bag space with these whips, but I think it'll be fine. Now here, the things that I like to have with this build, we'll go ahead and call that out. I like to build towards the stone armors. Like things like Gloves of Power are quite good to this with me. We get to attack really fast with all the flames and get that big burst damage coming out of the Gloves of Power. All of these stone items I'm on board with, the helmet and the chest plate, whatever that's called, those are all fine. I also want to get 2 or 3 of the oil lamps. They generate the 2 heat right out the gates, which is nice, but then stacking up the damage on the whip is going to be important as well. And so we have a touch of a decision. I think I am going to go ahead and just pick up the gloves while we can. We are not like super hurting for bag space at this point, but it could definitely be better. That was my kind of decision here, is like, do we want to take the gloves and then not have the bags? Now, I guess this is another fresh question, is like, do we want to roll on this round to try and find another bag, right? Because the thing we're going to start to run into, here's the item chances, right? We're currently 29% chance to find a common and 40% chance to find a rare. And so rare being the fanny pack, the 2-slot bag, the 4-slot bag being the one we want. And so I think I'll take a roll. I'm not certain how bad the percentages get from this point, but I want to see if we can't find one of those bags here early. It didn't come together. There is some interesting stuff here, though. I'm going to go ahead and pick up this lump of coal. We'll add this to our whip. Having these flame generators are quite good. And then I'm going to put a lock onto the stone skin potion, right? We just picked up the gloves of haste. It's what we want for our it's what we want for our gloves. All right. Bit of a bummer, but I think it'll be okay. All right, up against the bows. Sad day for us as we have our thorn whip double thorn buckler against the guy that doesn't particularly care about melee attacks, or I guess the guy not doing melee attacks, I should say. He's got a short sword in here, but the majority of his damage coming at range. Look at that, getting up to 15 thorns, and the opponent just saying LOL, don't care. So how bad does this get now? It goes to 20 for a common and then 35 for a rare. I don't remember. We were at 29 for a common on the last round, right? So maybe that rolling was justified. Fuck. God damn it. I hate when I do this. We didn't upgrade the whip. I'm sure one of you nerds saw that. He said, God damn it, Bust, you're not going to upgrade the whip. Alright, well, let's fix it. Make sure we're getting in that space. There's got to be just like a less awkward place to put this thing. Maybe like this. Fine. All right. Well, I'm a little bummed about that. All right. I guess something like this will work. We need to get the gloves onto the armor potion onto the gloves. Man, that's a bummer. Not having it this round really kind of sucks, but see if we can't battle through and make it. All right, go time. Whew, what do we got? Falcon Blade Goobert? No, I don't know about that. I think his stamina is just going to be gone, and we might be able to make it through this one. It's one of these cases where his items look a lot better than ours, but he doesn't have any stamina sustained to work with that. Okay, good stuff. And so we just hit this big, huge power spike here, right? Hopefully things will pay off from this point. We just hit the burning whip, the flame whip that we should have hit in the previous round. Whoopsies, but we're there. We've got the firebender to really tie the room together, if you will. And this is just exactly what we're looking to pull off here. And so again, what we're going to be looking for, we want some burning lamps for the flame whip. We're going to take the makings of any of the stone-based items. We're still looking for a stone helm and a stone armor. I want to have a little bit of mana generation. We're going to have a couple of blueberries, but the big thing I like to kind of chase with after this in the mid-game is going to be the Wulpen Tigers. The Wulpen Tiger, if you have 2 or 3 of them, it kind of fixes all of your sustain problems, so you don't run out of stamina as we're slamming with this Flame Whip. It also comes out and generates the little bit of mana that we need to activate the Friendly Fire. It also activates the little bit of thorns that we need to keep the Flame Whip up and running. And then I like to think that the Friendly Fire also ties in with it kind of well, in the sense that we don't really want clovers and we don't really want hearts, but once those get generated, then the Wulpen Tigers can come in and generate those other stats that we do need. And so it feels like it's a nice little cycle of synergies as far as everything that we're bringing to the table here. So let's see what we can do. Let's roll in the shops. Don't want any of that stuff. Hey, and there's our friend that we were just talking about, the first tiger, just immediately showing up. We'll have to see if we have the money for it this round. They are a little expensive, but we'll see how it breaks down. And so let's see what we can do with some of these bags. We're definitely going to have to be doing some rearranging here soon, but let's actually do this. Let's lock the tiger, take 1 or 2 rolls, and see if we can't find a bag. We didn't find a bag. We just found a way to fuck up our bag situation a little more with an on-sale leather armor. I'm gonna snatch that up as well, and let me see what we can do here otherwise. I think, like, as far as I can wrap my brain around this stuff, we'll probably want to go something just kind of this way. Not try and take full advantage of this friendly fire early, but gets us kind of where we want to be. So we've got our flame thing here. We probably just want to go ahead and push the flame thing up 1. That's a space where we're going to have to come in and do a little bit of work. Again, it's not too crazy given we don't have quite enough bag space at this point, but see how effective we can get. start fitting in these fitting in these foods as well. I would like to get both bananas in. Title of your sex tape. That's I'd like to get both bananas in, but we'll see how that plays itself out here. That reminds me, I was actually thinking yesterday. I think this is fine. We're not really finding the space to get the second banana in. Could just go ahead and pick up the other blueberries, I guess. All right. But no, like there's the people from my generation got That's What She Said coming out of The Office, but then in my more recent times, I never watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine until more recent years, and that's with Andy Samberg's Big Doing, and his phrasing to the similar kind of thing is title of her sex tape, and so got two bananas in, he would respond with title of her sex tape. But that got me thinking yesterday. I forget how the idea of the Lonely Island came about. If you're not familiar with them, they hit it big in like the late 2000s zeros, early 2010s. And as Andy Samberg and a couple of his childhood friends, they all got onto Saturday Night Live as writers or a feature as Andy Samberg was. But they also hit like right at this time as to when like social media had started to pop off. Like that was in the mid to late early 2000s. And then YouTube came about at the same time. And so when I was a youth, if you saw something very funny on Saturday Night Live, you either had to wait for it to re-air, right? So it would air today and then re-air like 3 months down the road, or somebody had to just like recorded it on physical media, right? You had to record it onto a tape. And so there was never this ability to be like, oh, did you see this? And then they say no, and then you say, well, here it is, let me send it right to you. And they were like the first people that not so much broke through in the era of social media and YouTube, but the first ones to break through amongst like the general population. And I can't remember if like Dick in a Box was the first one of their songs that really like hit it big. Like they have so many classics like Jizz in My Pants, and I think I'm on a Boat might have been the one that was super big. But Jizz in My Pants, or I'm sorry, Dick in a Box was the one that like really came to mind in the sense is like I wonder if it would still be successful in today's more open-minded and more broadly thinking culture, because it hurts so much whenever you go back and watch one of your favorite movies from like 20 years ago and you just have to like cringe halfway through it because the comedy certainly doesn't hold up anymore. It's especially terrible watching movies from the 80s, which were a lot of what was in my childhood. But I think that they kind of just like nailed it in terms of being aware of what they were doing, right? It's like when you think of the punchline of your joke, if the punchline is punching down and making fun of someone else, it tends to go down the path of not cool. But if it's self-deprecating or punching up in the terms of the humor, then it tends to be okay. And I feel like they really like understood and got that in their era, as to where you can really go down the wrong path when you write a song about putting your dick in a box and presenting that to a lady. that has the makings for being a little tasteless. And so for them to really like nail getting how that goes together was kind of props on them for their I don't even want to call it foresight. I don't want to feel like that was something that would have been appropriate then and not now. Just their comedic their comedic chops and understanding of how comedy works in terms of getting that together. But it came to mind, that's the first thing you think, dick in a box, and you're kind of like, I don't know about that one. I don't know if that holds up anymore, but I think it's still there. I think it's still good. But we're getting distracted. Let's get back on track. We want to pick up our wolf and tiger here. That's fine. I would love to get in a phoenix. I think it'll turn up again later. These legendary items have higher and higher percentage chances to turn up. We don't currently have the bag space. We don't have the money. We don't have the ways to really get this going. But as you can imagine, this build that is capable of generating 100 plus flames, that if we die and then get to trigger this for our whole health to come back, can be useful, especially since we get to keep all of our buffs. And so we'll look for a phoenix. It's just not like something I think we can quite afford right now. We definitely need to pick up some bag space at this point. So let's take a roll. We do have things that we're looking for here, lots of things, and some stuff to talk about with these as well. And so I think I'm going to just start moving away from the piggy banks. I do want to pick up the potion belt, but the things that I'm interested in here now and what I'm wanting to talk about is we have the oil lamp, which we're going to purchase, and then the draconic orb, which really ties into why I only want one weapon in these kind of builds, right? We made a bit of note of it earlier with things like the gloves of power as to where this really works well with a singular item. These stone armor kind of things don't work well with really fast attacking, big, blasty collections of items. And so what I wanted to mention with that is the Draconic Orb gives you next 3 hits are critical. You really want the critical hits to be on your high-powered weapon, right? If you think of, say, a hammer build, to where you get a big hit in with a hammer, but then you get like 4 shitty hits in with daggers. You know, if your 3 hits are critical, you like that hammer hit being critical, but those dagger hits are all kind of shitty. And so as we just have this one singular weapon that we're going to amp up with the burning coals, we're going to amp up with oil lamps, the Draconic Orbs really tie into that nicely. Being able to hit after hit after hit with the singular good weapon. So, we like that. Let's see, that looks like a decent angle for the flame whip. We'll see if we don't get to just keep that up and running, right? We're getting a good build around on our friendly fire here. That all looks kind of nice. We've got our flame whip under the gloves of power. That's good. We can get the wolf and tiger. Oh, it's only weapon steel. Oh, okay, that's fine. I was thinking in terms of this giving the broad the broad attack speed bonuses. It doesn't do attack speed at all. I guess that makes sense for the stones of power. But let's get our foods back in and running. Not quite to the point to where we can get by without having these bananas on board. Let's dive on in. I'm just going to reserve the oil lamp here. We can afford both the orb and the lamp next turn, but we won't have the bag space for it. We still need to be mindful of finding bag space, and I'd rather have oil lamps than the Draconic Orbs. Alright, so what do we got here? We've got to sustain through this big old lax. Maybe we can drain him out of stamina and get some big hits in. Looks like we're going to fall a little bit short here. Still lacking in that big burst protection. Okay, there's some burst protection if we want it in the cap of resilience. We definitely want to be adding it into our build, but I think I'm going to take the lamp and then just look for a bag. Another potion belt. It's not awesome, but it does give us that bag space that we need. We can add in an oil lamp. Probably figure out a way to get it within the friendly fire. Easy mode. I figured that out so fast. Look at how good I'm getting at this game, right? That would have taken me literal hours to figure out in the past, but we got it together now. So good at this game. It's tough. It's tough being so good. Alright, where can we go? I'm not entirely worried about getting perfect activations around this friendly fire, so this looks good for now. I think we have a decent wraparound on our foods. I think we might even prefer to do this, just give up on that little bit of bonus from the friendly fire to hit both of the bananas. We're probably getting to the point to where we need to just focus in on the friendly fire. But we also have a stone skin potion out here as well. Definitely want it. Dive into the next round. Okay. It's like an Excalibur build, but he doesn't have any particularly scary foods at this point. Sounds like we're just going to get annihilated, right? really struggling to win these rounds. I'm usually pretty happy with the build. Maybe we're falling a little bit short in terms of the flame generation. You could see it. We took him down once we got to 60 here to get that 100 hit off the friendly fire. Maybe we do need to be a little bit more intent on getting the flames around our friendly fire. But we want the stone skin potion. Let's take a roll. Stamina sack is good. And then we also have the cap of resilience and the Cap of Resilience package, if you will. Let me stop and think on how we want to approach that. So the things with this, right? We're going to make the stone armor. That's the big one we're about to hit. We have the makings right now for the Cap of Discomfort, which is quite strong. You get the damage reduction at the start, the healing shred on your opponent, and then the chance to stop your opponent's buffs from gaining. To whereas with the Stone Helm, you get that same damage reduction at the beginning. You get a lot of static armor. You prevent the crits. You prevent the stuns. And so I'm fine with either of these. The kind of bonus to sticking with the stone across the board and having the Stone Helm is if we do come out and add a Sun Shield, which I'm not opposed to adding. It gives us that. Oh, it's shit. The Sun Shield doesn't even do it. Let me find they typically. I'll have to remember that. The things like the Moon Shield or the Shield of Valor give that bonus armor, a huge percentage bonus of armor if we stick it next to these stone items. And so if we have the stone armor gaining 90 and the stone helm gaining 35, that's 125. If we get 30% of that, it's like an extra 40 armor or so at the start. And so staying on theme with the stones is kind of nice, but it's going to be a matter of if we want to wait around on the opposing or another stone skin potion to turn up, which I'm not opposed to. I guess stopping the crits is kind of nice as well coming out of the stone helm, and so maybe we do just dig for that. So let's try this. We'll lock in the stone helm. Gonna leave the corrupted crystal as is, and then we'll move away from there. So definitely want to pick up the stone armor. Let's start shifting some of these food down. We want to get this bigger flame wrap around the friendly fire. Maybe we'll be looking something more in this space. It's about time for the piggy bank to go as well, but I don't think we need to just toss it away at this exact moment. Maybe we do something like that. Kind of give up on the onion. Still have all of the flames that we have lined up around the friendly fire. Only one hex left for the garlic. I think we'll just keep the gold at this point. I don't know. We should probably be focusing on winning instead of having one gold. So we'll just sell off the piggy bank. Keep the hat on reserve. Okay, I'm on board. Alright, we haven't got to do any frost builds this week. Maybe it'll turn up in the next one. This is what the frost builds are all about. It's the frostbite. You have to hit the frostbite. The bummer for this opponent's build right now and why you were able to win that, you have to find the crit item as far as frostbite builds go to get the big crit chance on the frostbite. Otherwise, you just don't do enough damage fast enough. Okay, interesting stuff. Got Tim turning up. We'll have to stop and read what this does. A 50% chance on the weapon to steal a random buff. That is pretty decent. 25% chance on armor is what I think I'm interested in to resist debuffs or critical hits. I think stopping crits is what's kind of big for our sustain builds to go. And then we get to keep these burning coals on our flame whip generating heats. And so I think that's the way we'll take that. Now, we do have a stone skin potion turning up as well. Didn't expect it to happen, but it did. So we'll look to add that in next round, turn this Cap of Resilience up. So I think the other thing to kind of call out is at some point we might want to sell these spiked shields. We're not quite there yet. I don't think we're ready to sell off a spiked shield, but something to keep in mind that we don't have to keep these forever, especially as we add in the Wolf and Tigers as a way to generate thorns. We don't need them to generate the thorns for our Flame Whip. Seems like we're sustaining well enough. It's nice against the cheese builds in the sense that we scale up well. You know, we got up to 100 flames this round, and so as long as the stamina holds, I think we should be able to go toe to toe with them. All right, Stone Skin Potion is good. our first chili pepper comes in. I'm interested in adding that. It's been it's very wild getting this deep in and not finding any chili peppers to help activate the friendly flames, but I feel like we've done well enough. And now the stamina sack turns up. Definitely want to add it in. Let's do this. We're going to sell the onion. I have no real intents to use it. Let's see. If we want this stamina sack, we can sell off the flame to get there. That all looks nice. Let's try and make some better usage out of these bags. Okay, we're getting there. Starting to look decent. What do you think of that? Planned it that way. Our wolf and tiger is looking good. Our bananas are all nice and lined up. Chili pepper's got some bonuses to it. It's coming together. And so, yeah, at this point, I like where the build's at. I'd like to get a couple more wolf and tigers. We could look to replace these shields with the bigger, higher quality shields, and then an additional oil lamp or two on the flame whip wouldn't help. And then at that point, I tend to find myself just being like, okay, well, you know, we just need some sustain. And so that tends to be some of the holy items that spend through your mana. But we'll see what turns up. Getting flamed out over here, but the opponents run out of stamina. About to hit 60 and just blast them with the friendly fire. GG. Okay, good stuff. And so here is our friend the Phoenix turning up. Again, I'm not opposed to it. It's like if that last battle, as we had the 100 heat at the end, just jumping right back up to full health is kind of nice. And so we probably do want to add it in. It's also another pet for our wolf and tiger. It's going to be a matter of finding the space to get something like this within the within our kit. Kind of leaning towards just selling one of these spiked shields. That'll open up some space. Kind of got this. The space at the bottom will fill itself out if we. Well, it'll technically fill itself out if we find a bigger shield, but it's not exactly what I want it to look like. Let's do this. Adding in the additional weapon does give us a way to use this Gloves of Power. It's not certain. Oh, it is going to fit. Nice. I was going to say, I'm not certain that this will actually fit within this space, but perfect. It lands right in there. I don't think we'll be able to push it up top and get bonuses off of the friendly fire so we can remove a flame. Okay, that looks good. We will want to move the wolf and tiger over one, so he gets to hang out with his friend Phoenix. I'm just going to put these blueberries in these 1 hex spots. Probably going to be a challenge to find a much better place for it. Okay, so let's get this banana in. I'm going to drop 1 hex off of the friendly fire just to get the chili pepper up and running. I think this looks good. Don't need stone skin potions anymore. We'll pick up the flame. Heart containers can kind of work, but I would rather have more wolf and tigers to pop it off. Let's see how this goes. Seems like we've made some pretty good progress here. We got up against a crit ranger. He does have armor shred coming out of the ranger's bow, which is a bit frightening. It's not the weapon you typically see out of these. I don't think I'm super excited to be running up against that piece of the puzzle here, but our recovery from the Phoenix was doing quite good. It's not quite enough to take the opponent down there. Bummer. Okay, and so I am reasonably happy enough to add in 1 mana orb. It's going to really make sure we always have mana for the friendly fire. We don't have to count on these blueberries, and so that'll be good. It should be another like nice filler in the space, these 1 hex spaces as well, to where, say here it's hitting the Phoenix and the wolf and tiger, and then probably 1 more spot. I think I'm okay with it. All right, we got a stamina sack. I always get excited seeing these prismatic orbs, but we're not gonna have we're not gonna have enough to take advantage of that. Like we have a handful of magic items, but not enough to really come out and try and fully build around. Okay, so something like this is starting to look reasonable. We got some good targets on our food out here. The wolf and tiger is good here at the bottom. We got our friendly fire wrapped all the way around. Let's see if we can't win one of these rounds. There is a pineapple, which is kind of on theme with what we're doing, but it's more of a mid-game item to me. It's nice to have the thorn generation and not have to use the spiked shields, but I don't think it's a spectacular item. It just takes up so much space. All right, well, we just popped through our Phoenix, burnt through all of our flames before the 100 damage popped off. Where are these opponents at? Like, I'm not certain how I feel about how the Phoenix plays out in this, given that it seems like it should work with, like, positively with what we're doing, given that, you know, we generate all of the flames. We should be able to just reincarnate and do well with that. But, like, we were falling short of our friendly fire both times. And just losing all of that heat is kind of a bummer. And so I think it might have been a mistake to add in the Phoenix. This has been the first time I've added the Phoenix in with the Flame Whip, and I think that I just don't like it. But even though we didn't win, I think this got us to a pretty good spot within this battle. I do think this Flame Whip build is quite good. It's a nice build-out point from where you probably start your games with some spiked shields anyways. And then having that Flame Whip pop up is just a very powerful mid-game item as well. And so it does have a nice kind of like build cadence to it, to where if you are building, you know, the early game food, and then you're building out that spiked shield, but you aren't getting a lot of direction in where to go, picking up that Thorn Whip just says, okay, you can go this route and have quite a bit of success. Just the thing to me is you need to, you know, kind of recognize what you're doing with your mana, right? As I like to call out with this one, we want to be spending our mana drain on the friendly fire and not so much spending it on the friendly fire and a wand. And so I think that that's the kind of big distinction in what you're looking to make with these builds, as you do, you know, start out with the food and some of these defensive measures, but you need to decide on where your offense is going to go. If you build a wand, I don't think you can go towards the whip. If you build a whip, I'm sorry, if you build a wand, I don't think you can go towards the friendly fire. If you build a whip, you can. And so I think that that's the kind of distinction to make here, because I do not like wand builds with the friendly fire. I think you just get kind of stuck having to go out and pick up the holy thing, just so you're not just draining your mana in two separate places. Could be wrong on that, but it feels right to me. And then here with this, I don't think I like the Phoenix. But outside of those notes, we really hit on all of the positives that I do like of the Flame Whip build. I like going towards the stone-based armors. They don't affect our mana or our stamina drain too much with this singular Flame Whip. I only want one weapon in the Flame Whip, so that we can then devote all of our crits to the Draconic Orb. With the Draconic Orb, I only want one item, and I want all of those crits devoted to that singular item. Otherwise, I do like adding in these Whoopin' Tigers. If you have 2 or 3 Whoopin' Tigers, you can still sustain through attack after attack after attack, even having like 60, 80, 100 flames if you need to. And then you can start to sell away these banana-style things that you just don't really need in the late game and are pretty weak in the late game. Your Whoopin' Tiger does more than enough stamina to sustain that these bananas could start to go. And so, not the greatest run, not the perfect run, but lots of learning experiences, lots of good stuff. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So, if everyone enjoyed the video, if you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching it, this is Busted Me. Thank you for being here.